Hey beautiful, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. So today, as you can see, I'll be sharing with you my mental health journey. So this is a video I've been wanting to share and do for a very long time, but I just didn't know how to go about it. So I've not really planned anything for this video. I've not made notes or anything like that, because I sort of just want it to be raw and I just want to be able to talk. And like, the purpose of this video is to help anyone out there who has gone through what I have or is going through what I'm going through, because I know in the last 5 years I've watched videos like this and it has really helped me. I hope you enjoy the video. Please give it a thumbs up if it's helped you or if it's made you realise something, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, clicking the subscribe button down below. Now let's get into the video. So I'm gonna start with where it all started, basically. So I first noticed a change in myself, I think it was summer 2014, which was a whole 5 years ago, over 5 years ago even. And I just started noticing that I didn't feel like I was myself, and I was low, I was really down a lot of the time, and I would like cry, but I wouldn't know why. And I had this feeling and urge to punish myself for who I was, and I don't know where it came from, but I just started to really hate myself. I started to dislike who I was at the time and what I looked like and what I was doing. And I was in year 9 at the time, at school, and at the time I think I was having some friendship issues, but there was nothing major going on in my life to make me feel like that about myself. So basically it took me about 7 months to actually go to my GP and talk about it, which was a really scary thing to do, because at the time I was like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I like this? Why should I even be going to the doctors? I just had so many questions in my head that I was just confused. But going to my GP was the best decision I made, because I couldn't go on any longer without having any help, because I knew that it was coming to the time where, like, my safety was at risk and something needed to be done about it. So I went to my GP and I didn't know where to start, really. I didn't know what to say, but what I did the night before was I actually googled symptoms of mental health, like, problems, and I wasn't familiar with mental health at all. I didn't know what it was about, but I just knew what I was feeling had something to do with it. So I was just reading on it, and literally the symptoms and the things that I was reading was what I was feeling and what I was thinking, and I literally could relate to it 100%. So I felt like that was a good starting point to show my GP. So that's what I did, and then he started asking me questions, and I just remember crying to him and I didn't know what to do. And then he said to me, "It sounds like you're severely depressed." And when he said that, I just started feeling like shit. Like, having someone say to you, yeah, you've got severe depression, it's not an easy thing to hear. And I was only 14 at the time, so I was so confused. And I know a lot of people, not a lot of people, some people might say, depressed at 14, really? Like, would you have in your life to be depressed about. But it was true, and that was what was happening. So what happened was my GP referred me to CAMHS, which is the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services. But the waiting list was so long, and I remember I was bumped up on the waiting list because of some issues that happened at school. Because obviously my school were told about my depression and that they had to keep an eye on me. Then my self-harm started getting really bad, and it's not something that I'm going to go into like really deep, but I was self-harming at the time, and my school and family decided that I needed the help as soon as I could. Like, I couldn't wait like the month or 2 months that I was on the waiting list. So then that happened. I started seeing a therapist at CAMHS, and I had CBT therapy, so that was actually helping quite a bit. But with CAMHS, I personally feel like I didn't have a great experience with them because they were quite unreliable at times, but the times I did go, it did really help me. So this was, I think I started January 2015, and I think 2015 overall as a year was probably one of the worst years of my life, and that's literally no exaggeration at all, because throughout the whole year I was in and out of hospital quite a few times due to my self-harm and my suicidal thoughts, and I had several attempts to end my life. Things started to get really bad for me, the way I was feeling and about myself and about life in general and about things that were happening around me. It just started to get worse and worse and worse, and the more I was here, as in living, the more I didn't want to be here. And I think the whole year sort of was just a really dark place for me. So at this time I was in year 10, I think. Yeah, I was in year 10, so I was starting my GCSEs. So it's obviously a really important time for me, but I had all of this going on and I found it really difficult, and I struggled really hard, like a lot, to focus on my education and focus on my GCSEs, and even to be at school most of the time. Like, I missed so much. My attendance was so low because I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. I had no hope in me, and all I could really think about was not being here and like questioning myself, questioning my existence and why I am the way I am. And I think also around this time, and then going on to the following year, as in 2016, I had an issue with my eating. When I was feeling really low, I just wouldn't eat, and I came to a point where I started disliking food, and eating one whole meal in a day was like more than enough for me. Like, if I ate any more, like, I would literally be sick. And the part of hating myself and not liking who I was, it did include the way I looked, my body image, the way my body was, the way my face was, my weight, and I think this is when I started getting into makeup and started enjoying makeup, and because it made me feel confident and I just enjoyed doing it. But I was really conscious about my weight, and I think that's something I've been like struggling with in the last 5 years. Like even now, I'm struggling with my weight, but and the way I look, but in that year, it was literally a mixture of so many things, and it was really hard for me to get through it. But with the support of my family, who were amazing, like this whole mental health this whole mental health thing was so new to my parents. Like it was such a taboo thing before. Like no one knew what it was about, and no one knew why and what it was. And I feel like my parents handled it really well, and I'm so grateful, and alhamdulillah, that my parents were very supportive and understanding and wanted to understand and learn more about what was happening and what I was going through. So I had such a supportive family around me, and as well as that, I had my school counsellor, my teachers, because even without them, I don't think I would be here either. I had such a good support system around me, and even though throughout these last 5 years I've struggled a lot with friendships, I have had a certain few friends in the last 5 years who were in my life and helped me through so much. And even though I did feel like I was alone most of the time, even though I had people there, and I felt like nobody cared even though they did, I had people that wouldn't give up on me. And just looking back at it, I'm so grateful for that. But also, when I was in that position, I couldn't see it, because all you can really think about is the way you're feeling, and it's so hard to think about what other people are feeling about the situation. Because now looking back at it, I know it's hard for the people who were around me to see me doing that to myself, and to see me struggling, or to see me hurt. I was told to drop one of my GCSE subjects, so it would be a little bit less on me, like less stress. And the most stressful subject at that time for me was my art GCSE, because of the deadlines and all of that. But it was actually the subject that I enjoyed the most. So I dropped out my art GCSE, and then I tried my hardest to do what I could, but at the same time I just sort of gave up. Like I didn't really care about my education, and I didn't care about a lot of things. I just didn't care about being here at all, so it was really hard to actually carry on. And then I started medication 1 year into being at CAMHS, so that was end of 2015, and I was in year 11. So basically CAMHS decided that therapy wasn't enough for me, and I sort of needed therapy and medication to sort of balance it out and try and work on myself and hopefully get somewhere. So I started on fluoxetine December 2015, I think it was, and I was on that for just over a year. I think I was on that for 1.5 years. And for me, I didn't know how I felt about medication. I felt like, why should I have to have this pill to make me feel better? But at the same time, I wanted to feel better so bad that I didn't care what I had to do to get there. Like, if taking that medication was the way forward, then it is what it is. I just took it. So then in year 11, I was on the medication, and things was still not great. Like, the workload at school with all my GCSEs, it was still too much for me to handle. So I was told to drop another subject. And at that time I thought, okay, I'm such a failure, like I'm gonna be coming out with 2 less GCSEs than everyone else. Like, why can't I just do it? Like, what's wrong with me? So then I dropped my geography GCSE, and I was getting A's, A stars in my geography in year 10 and beginning of year 11. But at the time we were doing coursework and it was so long, and they said to me, you know, that's probably the best one to drop because it might have a lot of stress onto you. So then I dropped that, and I was left with obviously maths, English, science, Spanish, and child development. So that's 5. Oh shit, was it 5? I think that was it. And I was still struggling. Like, it was, and I compared myself a lot to those in my form. I was like, why can't I do this? I compared myself a lot, and I have done in the last few years, because I just wanted to be normal. I just wanted to be able to go through my GCSEs, live my life, and, you know, just be okay. But that just wasn't the case. I don't know, I just felt really worthless. Like there wasn't anything to me. I wasn't important. I didn't need to be here. And as I started unpicking some things in my life through therapy, I just thought, I've been a problem since I was born. Like, that's genuinely how I felt. And I feel like I've just been in the way. Like there was no purpose to me being here, and there was no reason, or like I didn't value myself at all. So then I got through my GCSEs. I came out with A to C. What did I get? Got 1 A, 4 B's and 2 C's. So I passed everything, considering how shit those 2 years were for me. And even though I got through it and I passed everything, I got into 6th form, it wasn't enough for me. And like, I think for me, whatever I did, it wasn't enough. And that's what I felt like. And I just felt like I need to be able to do more. I need to be able to do, like, be better or be the best. Not the best, but like, I just didn't like what I was doing and how I was at the time. And then I got through my GCSEs, and slowly, I think near the end of my GCSEs is when I started getting close to a few people, and I sort of had solid friendships, which helped me so much. And summer 2016, I think, was actually quite a good summer for me. I got into 6th form, and, you know, things were going quite okay. At the time I wasn't self-harming, and I had my down days. There were days that I woke up and I didn't want to be here. And I mean, I still have those days. 5 years on, I have days where I wake up and I don't want to be here, and I feel shit, and I don't want to be doing anything or stuff like that. But at that time, that summer, it was alright, actually. I had my friends and my family around me. Then I went into 6th form, and things were going really well, and my teachers even saw a big difference in me from GCSEs to starting my A-levels. And I remember getting an award, actually, because I think it was an award about, like, despite the hardships I'd gone through, I've come out smiling, or something like that. And having that boost and having that recognition that I'm doing well and that I've grown through what I was going through was really nice for me to like hear from people. We're now in 2017, which was a really hard year for me, I won't lie. There were situations that I was involved in that just made me feel worse about myself, and about my life and about those who are in my life. And I actually went through something that has probably like changed my life since then. And I think what I went through then sort of made me literally go back to square one. And not even square one times 10. I was really struggling, and I didn't know who to go to, because at that time my close friendships were crumbling, and literally my best friends at the time, things weren't going well, and I sort of didn't know what to do with myself. So it was getting to the time where my sister was getting married, and that was such a happy time, but also for me, I took it very emotionally, if that makes sense. Basically, my sister is like my life. Like, I have looked up to her ever since I was little. I grew up with her, I did everything with her, I literally wanted to be her. Like, I saw her as a mother figure. Literally, she was my idol, and like throughout school I would always talk about my sister, because she was literally just everything. And even though it was such a happy time for her to get married and stuff like that, I took it quite hard. The way I was thinking, I felt like I was losing my sister, and it's not the case, because obviously I have my sister still and she's still there, but I don't know, it was like one less person around me to make me feel better, if that makes sense. But obviously it was such a happy time. But I think for me, from then, not just when she was getting married, but before that, when my friendships were crumbling, I felt like that's when I started blaming myself for everything that was going on. So there was that situation that I was going through when something happened to me, and then there was when I've lost my two really good friends, and then losing my sister. Then I came to a point where I was like, everyone's leaving me, and it's because of me they've done that. And I sort of just, I don't know why, I can't explain it, but I felt like everyone was just leaving me because of me. And it was really difficult to get through, and this was in year 12 of sixth form. And at this time I also was contemplating whether to drop out of sixth form, and I did mention that a little bit in my A-levels video, my results video. But I didn't want to be at school, I didn't want to be anywhere, I just didn't want to do anything. So I was back at square one, but I felt 10 times worse because of the situations at the time, and I really didn't know how to get through it. And I was still at CAMHS at this point, and I was at a point where I started keeping things to myself, and I wasn't very open about my emotions and about my feelings and my thoughts. This made CAMHS think that I was well enough to be discharged, and so I was discharged in 2017 from CAMHS, and I was also taken off my fluoxetine medication. And at this point, this was end of year 12, I felt like the whole world was against me, and that was my fault. I felt like the things that I went through, I was to blame. And that is how I was made to feel, I feel like now, looking back at it. And I felt like, it's not even that I felt like, at that time I feel like I didn't have anyone. I was going through it on my own, and I feel like no one was on my side, and I feel like nobody had, I felt like nobody wanted to listen to me. I felt I just didn't want to be here. I genuinely just wanted to end my life. And at this point, it was when I couldn't find hope in carrying on. I couldn't find it anywhere, not in anyone, not in myself. And I went into year 13, and I just tried to get through it, but still then I felt like I was on my own. And then my sister's wedding happened, and it was an amazing time. It was really joyous, and it was a really happy thing. But at the end of it, when it all died down, like after the wedding and everything, like I felt, because at the time my brother was at university, so I've always had my older brother, my older sister, and obviously my little sister at home with my parents, and I always not relied on my older siblings, but I always knew they were there, and I always knew that they cared, and I knew that literally anything I needed, they were there. But not having them around was something I really, really struggled with. And my brother was at uni, my sister got married, and I just felt like I didn't have anyone, because I didn't have my friendships at the time. I'd like my close friendships, and I think I started self-harming again in 2017. Yeah, I started self-harming again in 2017 because it was sort of my escape, and also my, like, okay, I don't really want to go into that, but I was just in a really bad way. Basically, throughout all of this, I was quite active on my social media, and from 2016, sorry, I was really active on my social media, and that's when I started my blog, and I was really open about mental health and my love for beauty and makeup, and that was sort of something that was keeping me going. And I'm so grateful that I started it, and like I'm still on this journey and sharing it with you guys, and I feel like that's really helped me a lot. But there was times when that wasn't enough for me. I just felt so alone. And then now we're coming into 2018, which was last year, and I got through my A-levels. There was a period of time where I was actually trying to focus, and I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. Like, whether I like it or not, I'm gonna get through this. And I don't know where it came from, I just had this burst of strength in me and some hope that I was gonna get through whatever I was going through. Then 2018 summer, so I finished my A-levels, and I had things to look forward to, like I had my prom, and summer, like a long summer, but also what sort of brought me down a little bit was everybody was going to uni, and I didn't really know what I was doing with myself. Like I said, I had things to look forward to. I had prom, I had my makeup course that I was doing that summer, and I was so excited about it, and that was amazing. But it was that idea of, once all of that was over, where do I go from here? All my friends were at uni, having fun, making friends, and I was sat there, didn't know what to do with my life, and had no one around me. Like, that's not how I felt. So what I decided to do, I think also 2018 summer was, I went through something personal as well. Another time, there's a lot of personal situations and things that I went through in the last 5 years that have really, really impacted my mental health, even to this day. But it's also about finding a way to move past it and not forget it, because that's something that you can't tell. Like, I've had people tell me, just forget it, it's the past, it's done, whatever. But yes, it's the past, but you can't control whether you forget it or not. Like, there's some things that will always stay with you, and I definitely have quite a few situations that will always stay with me, because if something hurts you, it hurts you. You can't, like, you're allowed to feel upset, you're allowed to feel hurt, you're allowed to allow yourself those emotions, and you can't just ignore it all the time. And I think that's something that people who struggle with mental health might find difficult, because we just want to feel normal, we just want to feel okay, and we try to forget the fact that we don't feel okay. But instead of forgetting it, it's about working on it. And that's what I tried to do 2018 summer. So I was really hurt, and I was really upset by things that were going on, but I had to channel that energy into myself. And I think that's when I truly realized that I am worth a lot, okay? And it's okay to be selfish. Self-care is not selfish. Caring for yourself, looking out for yourself, is something everyone should be doing, and nobody should feel guilty about doing it. And that's when I realized that. I was like, I can't let these people that were in my life dictate how I feel about myself, or make me feel like I am a certain way when I'm not. So it's really difficult to channel that negativity and what those negative thoughts, feelings and emotions into strength and positive ones. And I know it is, but you can do it. Like, I can't stress this enough. You can do it. I went through shit the last 5 years, and I went through things that I can't explain, and I genuinely can't make people understand. But at the end of it, I am here. I'm sitting here talking to you guys about it. And Like, I am genuinely so proud of myself, and I know you guys can be too. So if you're struggling and you're going through something, just know there's so many people out there that might be going through what you're going through, and you're not alone. Like, it's not about comparing, and it's not about other people, it's about your journey. And I felt like from end of summer 2018 until now, we're coming to 2020, in this past year, I think I have grown so much as a person, and I have let the last 5 years be a lesson to teach me that I have a purpose, I am worthy, and I deserve to be treated well, and I deserve to be seen as a good person, or like all those things that I thought I wasn't. I just want to let you guys know the importance of listening to yourself, and what do you really think? Forget about all those other people. What do you really think about yourself? What do you want to do? What do you want to make of yourself? And I was brought down by so many people, so I felt like I couldn't carry on. But now I have developed that attitude that I am my own person, and I will do whatever I set my mind to, and I don't care what they say about it. Because at the end of the day, everyone is for themselves, and I have always been a really selfless person, despite what anyone may think of me. I believe I've been a very selfless person. I've always thought of other people. I've always put other people before myself, and it came to a point where I felt like, for my mental health and for my own sanity, I need to think about myself for once, put myself first. And that's exactly what I want everyone else to be doing. Because you're on this journey, and it's your journey, and you can make whatever you want from it. Despite the fact that I have learned and grown over these few years, and especially in the last year, and finding myself, that is not to say I don't still struggle. I'm still struggling, but I am also thinking about how much I have gone through, and you need to be proud of that. Like, if you're listening to this and watching this video and you've been through a lot, think about what you've been through and think about what you're doing now. Like, you've gotten through it, you're here watching the video. My heart really goes out to those of you who have gone through some difficult situations and hardships, and with your mental health or whatever it is, because all I want to do is help people. And I feel like sharing my journey, sharing my experiences and what I've gone through, and I've come out at the other end, it shows a lot, it says a lot, and I feel like I want people to hold on to that. I just want to end this video by saying that you're not alone, and you can do it. And I just can't stress enough how it is possible, even though it feels impossible. Like, I felt like it was impossible. The amount of times I wanted to end my life and, you know, leave this world, yet I'm still stood here. I mean, sitting here, and I've gone through it. I'm here now, and I'm okay. I just want people to know that you'll get through it, but it's not to say that you won't have your down days. And if you're someone who has a friend or family that is going through this, maybe this video will help you a little bit in terms of knowing how to deal with it and how to go about situations. there's anything that you guys would like me to touch upon in more depth, so my medication experience, therapy, or even being an Asian Muslim girl going through that and how that impacts the situation, because I know it can be difficult, then please feel free to message me or put down a comment on the comment section below. Like I always say, have faith, always beautifuls, and I love you lots.